Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all yet again another Comic Book Hollywood video segment right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly, as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Comic Book Hollywood video segment. And y'all know y'all down bad for this shit. Y'all ain't no good for this. You all voted for me to review Elektra, knowing damn well I didn't want to review this movie. And I guess most of you all thought it was going to be, oh yeah man, Larry's gonna, he's gonna tear this film a new asshole. Fucking right. That's not gonna happen. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. This is going to be a very short review. I am going to do my best to review this without falling asleep. And that's what y'all fucking get. Because it's messed up to do that to your boy. That's fucked up, son. That's fucked up. Alright, on with the review. So, Elektra is a 2005 superhero film directed by Rob Bowman. It is a spin-off from the 2003 film Daredevil, starring the Marvel Comics character Elektra Nachios, played by Jennifer Garner. The story follows Elektra, an international assassin whose weapon of choice is a pair of scythes. Now, that is as vague and bland and empty a synopsis of the film is that I've ever read. But you know what? The sad part about it is it's not too far from the truth. Damn! For the screenplay, Zach Penn, Stuart Zickerman, and Raven Metzner received written by credit. Mark Steven Johnson received credit for motion picture characters, and Frank Miller for comic book characters. And that's mainly because by the time this film came out, the characters in the film were almost entirely different from their comic book counterparts, because this film just completely cast source material to the wind almost entirely. I go as far as to say 95% entirely. So yeah, these characters in the film have pretty much, they're pretty much original for the film. Alright, so okay, the comment I mentioned earlier about the brief synopsis of the film, here's the problem, the first problem with the film. The story is so empty. And what I mean when I say it's empty, there's not a lot of content. It's a really trived, really fucking, old, recycled plot, which is assassin is hired to, assassin is hired to kill a target. Assassin falls in love with the target, not knowing that the assassin, that person is the target, and then assassin decides to protect the target rather than kill the target. That's been used to death. And the thing is, Elektra doesn't really expand any further than that contrivance. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like they take it and they turn it into, they make their own out of it. It's the same thing, and there's nothing special about this one. It's empty, it's void, there's nothing there. There's little to no character development. Character motivations aren't clear. The dialogue is shit. There are so many scenes where nothing is going on. Where either it's just a character by themselves and the music playing, which is supposed to be characters in thought. But here's the thing: have you ever wondered why in comic books there aren't panels with characters just standing on their own? Do you see what I'm saying? They're not just on their own, sitting down or, whatever, and nothing is happening or nothing is being said. What do you usually see in those panels? Thought bubbles, right? Well, how do thought bubbles convey in cinema? Narrative voiceovers, so that we can get inside the character's head. But in a lot of these scenes, they don't even. Are there any voiceovers? There might be a few, but those few, when they have all these other scenes, most of the time it's just a character by themselves and music. And they come across as filler so much because they don't progress the story. Oh my motherfucking God. Okay. So, the writing in regards to the plot. Well, okay, I gave you all a brief synopsis because there's not much to go off from there. So, like I said, plot-wise, in regards to the writing, it's contrived, it's regurgitated, it's recycled, it doesn't do anything special. Like I said, I just commented on the pacing, what with the staring off into the distance. Those little filler scenes, they ruin the pacing. The dialogue is shit. Character motivations aren't clear. To say that this is supposed to be Elektra's solo film, you do not get enough origin and background. You don't. And here's another thing. Originally, when I first saw the film, I thought that the reason that we weren't getting all that origin and backstory is because, we already know who this character is. Why? Because we saw her in Daredevil. But this film almost entirely ignores that continuity. This film almost comes across like a reboot. And if that's the case, then we need that origin story. But no, they go into it as if we're supposed to already know who she is, but they damn near completely ignore it. So then what's the point? Like what I'm saying is, what's the point of trying to fill in the blanks with the origin story from Daredevil if you're ignoring the Daredevil continuity? At that point, it's a fucking reboot. So that right there is a fucking problem. Oh my God. And I already commented on how it has absolutely nothing to do with the source material whatsoever, except for the names of characters. That's it. That's pretty much all the source. That's pretty much the only thing this film has that the source material has, is the name of characters. That's it. God, the film is highly fucking predictable. It comes across as obnoxiously preachy because it doesn't take the time necessary to drive home its message or its themes, and because the fucking plot's so contrived, because it's so fucking predictable, you kind of figure this shit out real fucking quickly, so there isn't really much point. Acting wise, all in all, it was a huge letdown, and there are some pretty good actors in here that I like. And remember, I'm the guy who said in last week's review, I like Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. And one of my biggest problems with this film is that, okay, just so you guys don't think I'm being a hard ass, okay? I was actually excited when I found out that Elektra was getting her own film. Why? Because I liked Daredevil. And because I like Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. And so when they were talking about bringing Jennifer Gardner back to play Elektra in her own film, I was like, well, this is fucking awesome. However, they didn't do anything with it. So much could have been done with this film, and none of those opportunities was seized, and none of those plateaus was explored at all. And this film is an example, a beautiful example of the bullshit that these film studios, engage in when they want to just crank out a film. Why? Because it's popular. Because, say what you will about Daredevil, Daredevil was financially a successful film, and so they were trying to capitalize off of that success by giving us a bullshit spinoff. Perfect fucking example right here. Perfect. I mean, remember, because this came out only 2 years after Daredevil, which if you all will recall, a lot of comic book movies nowadays take at least 3 years. Very seldomly will you see one out in 2 years. Like, you'll see one made within 2 years, but very seldomly will you see it released within 2 years. And this one was released, in just 2 years. So it was pretty fucking obvious. I tell you this though, I can't help but get the feeling that that the script for this film was brutally butchered and watered down, because there are a few signs in the film where for a first time viewer, you think, oh shit, that's kind of cool, maybe they'll take that somewhere. Oh shit, that's kind of interesting, let's see what happens with that. And of course none of those things pay off. But just the fact that they kind of glimpse in this film makes me think that the original concept and probably the original treatment for this film was probably a hell of a lot better than what got put on camera. But I can't help but think that, the editors and whatnot, they just fucked the film over. They just butchered the script. Like I said, I have no proof of that, but I get that feeling. I can't shake that. Okay, other thoughts. Acting, like I said, acting wise, I mean, a huge disappointment, because there are some good actors in the film, but their performances don't amount to shit, because number one, their characters are written poorly, but number two, the whole energy with this film is just fucking thrown off, and I don't see, it doesn't feel like any actor was taking this film seriously. It's almost brutally transparent at this point. It's so damn transparent, it hurts your eyes. You see what I'm saying? You want to look away at that fact, because it's so fucking obvious. The cinematography actually was pretty good. A lot of the film does work with that whole dark filter that I talked about in Daredevil that I liked. But I do think that the daytime scenes could have used some work though. I don't think the envelope was really pushed as far as like what they were capable to do, being out in the daylight and whatnot. But I do like some of the sets though. Yeah, some of the on-set shooting, I thought that was pretty cool. I like some of those. And the choreography is decent. It's not anything special, but it's not terrible either. It's actually decent. And music-wise, same thing. The music's decent. There's some pretty good bands. A lot of my favorite bands are actually on the soundtrack, but I've never heard the soundtrack. I only know of the tracks that were actually in the film, which they are okay. But I don't think that soundtrack is better than the Daredevil soundtrack. No, I don't. And so, all in all, my final thoughts on the film. I think I like the idea of making an Elektra movie, and I think if they would have executed it right, it could have paid off for them. I really do, especially because I think, wasn't this released in February? When was this released? It was released in January. So this came out less than 2 years after fucking Daredevil. Wow, it was released less than 2 years after that. Wow. Okay, so yeah. Kate, I proved my point. But no, like honestly, I like the idea of giving Elektra her own movie, and I think if they would have put it in the same February, February month, maybe 3 years later, after they've actually made a good movie and given it time to mature, but also after they've built up hype for the movie for a couple of months or whatnot. So I like the idea to give Elektra her own movie. I'm not against that at all. But for fuck's sake, man, the execution of this film. And I have something stuck in my eye. For fuck's sake though, dude, the execution of this film. So, my final rating out of 5 stars. I'll give it a 1 out of 5. And that's only because I like Jennifer Gardner as an actress, and because Terrence Stamp is in the film. That's it. I can't give it, a 0.5. I can't just give it a 0. I can't give it negatives. Nah, fuck that. 0.5. 0.5 out of 5. 0.5 out of 5. An F+. An F+, if that even matters. So that'll do it for this week's Comic Book Hollywood. That was real messed up of y'all to have me review this film. That was real messed up, yo. Not cool, bro. Not cool. And a lot of y'all probably wondering, Larry, why did you review it if you didn't want to fucking review the film? Why do it? Well, let's face it. At some point in time, I'm gonna have to review some of these bad ones. There's no way I'm gonna be able to just get away with doing the good ones. I'm gonna have to review the bad ones at some point, eventually. So might as well bite the bullet and knock out one, right? I mean, I've already done Superman Doomsday, so maybe I was overdue for, another bad film. Anywho, so that's going to do it for me. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week. In the comments below, suggest, give a suggestion for next week's review. I won't say don't recommend bad movies, but let's not get in the habit of recommending bad movies. Let's just put it like that. I need the bad movie reviews to be the Blue Moons, once every 4 or 5, something like that. I don't know if I'll survive a week after week bad movie, guys. I don't know. Shit's detrimental to my health. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off, and until next time, peace.